What's going on, y'all? Jordan, another episode of Lightning Latest. Pretty busy weekend for the Bolts. Had a couple games back to back, so we'll talk about those. We're also going to talk about a couple what ifs. But let's just go ahead and just dive right into what was kind of a disappointing weekend. Not kind of, it was a disappointing weekend. First off, Bolts Red Wings. The better of the two games. 2-1 loss for the Bolts in overtime. So, obviously you don't want a loss in any circumstance, but an OT loss is better than a normal loss, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But both goaltenders were great. John Gibson of the Red Wings, Vasi for the Bolts. They're both playing really well. They shut the opposing offenses out for extended periods of time. So, pretty good day all in all for the goaltenders for the most part. After a first period goal from Axel Sandin Pelinka for the Red Wings, they led 1-0 for the majority of the game, actually, until about little under 3.5 minutes left. Sorry. A little under 4 minutes to go when J.J. Moser scored the game-tying goal, his first of the season. So we were all tied it up in 1, heading into overtime. Unfortunately, we've already seen this one once with the Capitals. This time it happened again. Dylan Larkin, 3.5 minutes in, scored the game winner for the Red Wings. So that's 2 OT losses that have ended in pretty quick fashion, actually. The Capitals, I don't know if you remember, they scored within a minute or two of OT, and now this is about 3.5 minutes in. So, go to OT is great, but if you give up the go-ahead goal, the winning goal, within 5 minutes, what was the point? Gibson played great for them, 31 saves. Vasi saved 29. It was his best start of the season, though, hands down. And he's slowly getting better each time out. So hopefully that actually leads to a win here soon. Once again, the Bolts came up short in an overtime matchup, though. So it's kind of frustrating. Yes, there were bright spots. There were good points at the matchup for the Bolts, but, definitely a disappointing outcome. Gunsel and Hagel at -2 on the night. So, it's once again, we're showcasing the defensive struggles that these attacking lines are having. It's really, really disconcerting because across the board we're struggling defensively, both on the blue line and on the attacking lines. That has to change because if it doesn't change, we're not going to be winning any games anytime soon. So, Vasi's getting better, though. He's getting better. It's apparent based on the start against the Red Wings, that he's getting there. Was the injury he was struggling with kind of behind him now? Does he not have to worry about it as much? Is he back to full strength? That's what we're hoping, right? If he is back there, then the Bolts' chances of getting back on track go quite a bit because if our number one goaltender's locked in and he's close to or back to his previous world best, I think we're going to have a good time. So we'll see because still got a long way to go in the season. We're only 6 games in. So let's talk about that 6th game, though. Another loss, this time to the Blue Jackets. Oh, man, just talk about disappointing, First period goals from Ryan McDonough and Anthony Strelly gave the Bolts a 2-1 lead, actually. They led 2-1 at the end of the first period. Things were looking good. However, we've seen this story before, and it did not go too well. So from there, all Blue Jackets. They scored goals in the second and third period, second to tie the game, third to win it. Jonas Jansen played pretty well, though, all things considered. Yeah, you have 3 goals. Saved 28 shots, though. Kept the Bolts in it, even when the offense is struggling. Could have been a lot worse if he hadn't made a couple really good saves. So, Gunsel, Holmberg, Chernak, and Hedman all had assists as well in the game. Gage Goncalves, bit of a rough one. He's, after a hot start and a good preseason, he's kind of cooled off a bit. But, only Bolts player with a -3 ±, and just under 12 minutes of time on ice. So, that's not something you want to see. Four others, Hagel, who's struggled, Braden Point, who's struggling, Eric Chernak, who hasn't really lit the world on fire, and McDonough are negative too. McDonough scored his second goal, so that's great, but, we really need his line, him and Chernak especially, to step up. And they allowed 2 of the 3 goals of the Blue Jackets, so it's not what you want to see out of your top true defensive line, at least. They're the shutdown pairing, and we're not seeing it. Penalty kill, though, continue to be strong. We're going to talk about that again in a few days. Shut down both Blue Jackets power play chances. Continue to play really smart hockey on the penalty kill, and it's helping us quite a bit. Here's the problem, though. If we can't score on our own power plays, which we did tonight, but if we can't consistently create chances from open play, we're going to have an issue. And that's the issue we're having right now. We're just not creating those chances, and it's really not helping. It's really hurting our offense because we're just not shooting enough, and we got to be better than that. Also, face-off win percentage, 42.9% tonight. That's not going to cut it. If you want to win, you want to be a Stanley Cup contender, you got to win your face-offs. And, that's one of the things that the Bolts did in years past, especially when we were truly contending for titles, won face-offs. The Blue Jackets game was not a good one for that aspect of the special team. So we really need to focus on getting better there. Would it be possible for Jack Finley to get more reps there? Remember, in preseason, right, he was kind of working towards being that guy that Luke Glendening was before he left. I don't know, but we have to try something on faceoffs because we can't go on winning 42% of faceoffs each night. It's not going to work. But there are a few ways we can definitely improve the roster. And, obviously on offense is definitely one. And we're going to talk about Alex DeBrincat for just a couple minutes here. DeBrincat, 2016 second round pick from the Blackhawks. He's currently on the Red Wings second line, left wing, playing solid offensive hockey. After 5 seasons with the Blackhawks, remember he spent a year with Ottawa. Then he joined Detroit ahead of the 2023-2024 season. This is now season 3 with the Red Wings. He's played in all 82 games in the first 2 years with the Red Wings, though. So he's been pretty healthy, actually, throughout his career. Before joining the Red Wings, he played in all 82 games 4 out of his 6 seasons before that, including his lone season in Ottawa. He did deal with some injury problems towards the back end of his tenure with the Blackhawks, but since then, for the most part, he's been pretty healthy. 6 games so far this year, 6 points, all from assists, so hasn't put the puck in the back of the net, but he'll get there, as time has shown. Net 0 plus minus, 18 minutes and 19 seconds of average time on ice, roughly, throughout the first few games. So, not too bad. Last year, 70 points, right? 39 goals, 31 assists, 17 minutes and 52 seconds of time on ice average. So, not too bad at all either. The plus minus was a little worrisome at negative 13. As we know, Alex really doesn't focus too much on the defensive side of things. So, in reality, he's probably a good 3rd or 4th line guy with us, more so because we really like our top 2 lines, especially on the attacking lines, to be versatile. So far, it hasn't happened this year, but the goal is to get back on track of that, right? He's never had a plus minus better than the plus 6 he notched his rookie year with the Blackhawks. So that's hopefully that could change. Definitely would give the 3rd and 4th lines a boost. Although any offensive help, is really needed right now. The attacking lines haven't been pulling their weight. So, if we can bring in more attackers that can help boost that, like an Alex DeBrincat, I think that'd be really good. He'd also be a really expensive addition, though. Remember, he's making just under $8 million a year, right? Next 2 years. Then he's going to be an unrestricted free agent again in 2027. So, trading for him, would that preclude a possible contract extension? Think about that. Certainly something that the Bolts would have to consider, because we're trying to build this team, right? And the cap is expanding. So any kind of trades we're making, hopefully, will go in turn with finding someone that's going to be long term. But speaking of long term, because we've harped upon this quite a bit lately, is the goaltending position. That's the focus of our second what if today. And that's Jack Greaves. If you've heard of Jack Greaves, well, I hope so. That means you were watching the Lightning play on Saturday against the Blue Jackets. After playing 9 and 11 games with the Blue Jackets the last 2 years, looks like this is the year he's finally going to get a crack at the number one, at least as a 1A or 1B possibility with Elvis Merskilins, the veteran there. So, Merskilins still got a couple years left on his deal, so it kind of makes sense they're seeing what they have in Greaves now. He's sorting up in the AHL. He's one of the best AHL goalies of the last couple of years. And it really makes sense that the Blue Jackets would want to see if he can translate that to the next level and be that next guy. He's 24 years old. He turns 25 in March. So he really could be their potential long-term goaltender. It's highly possible. Also, saved 17 of his 19 shots against the Bolts in his start against them, his third of the season. Showcased the talent that, really made him a star in the AHL. And, if that can translate here at the NHL level, the Blue Jackets could have a steal on their hands. It is unlikely that they would trade him for a couple different reasons. I mean, obviously, if he continues to play well and grow and evolve and show that he can handle a starting workload, why would they trade him? Because he's still at 24. Secondly, Merskilins will be free agent in a couple of years, so, if he comes out now and tears it up for them, then great. However, the Blue Jackets struggle, which they've already kind of done up and down this season. Maybe they get an offer that they would love to trade him for. But if you think about this, if the Bolts traded for Jack Greaves, that means something else needs to happen with Vasi. Or it's going to be a 1A, 1B because Greaves is ready to prove now if he's worth an NHL starting goaltender spot. And obviously we have Vasi, so, that could be a tough ask. But Vasi seems to struggle. Who knows what will happen? This is Jordan Llanes signing off. Busy day tomorrow as well. We got a couple more days until we start back up against the Blackhawks, but we got plenty of content to keep y'all busy, so don't worry about that. This is Jordan. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good one.